When we remember the history of the ancient Egyptian civilization, there is lots of names that immediately comes to mind. The most famous name, the secrets that baffled the world. It is still being discovered. But the strange question is she from this world? In this video from the Cleopatra channel, please subscribe to the channel and like the video. We will solve a 3,000-year-old mystery of Queen Nefertiti and her dynasty, the missing. She embodied cinema and dramas. A picture of Queen Cleopatra as the most beautiful of women, the queens of Egyptian civilization. But the truth is, our faculties, of which we shall speak today, were superior to hers, beautiful and attractive. Even her famous statue. Even today, it is considered a symbol of many women's many lines of modern cosmetics. Queen Nefertiti, Queen of Egypt, Pharaoh Akhenaten's wife. She lived in the 14th century BC, and during the reign of her husband, his worship, the furnace of the sun god, appeared. He had a different Egyptian artistic promotion in the form of Al-Jazariya from all worships. Which religion preceded? And I am the statue of Queen Nefertiti. Many societies around the world adopted Queen Nefertiti and considered her a symbol of true beauty, and some historians said she was the most beautiful woman. She ruled in history, although some considered it an exaggeration. Nefertiti was one of the most mysterious and powerful women in Egypt, and she ruled side by side with the Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten. In the period from A. 353 to the period of A. 336 BC and maybe. She ruled the modern state after the death of her husband, before he took over the little king's super famous Tutankhamun. But historians say that her reign was a period of turmoil. Culturally enormous, especially after directing Akhenaten to the religious and political structure to worship the sun god Aton. Monotheism. Historians say that their reign was the richest period in history. Ancient Egyptian University is the daughter of any of my advisors. The state, which later became the pharaoh, after the early death of King Tutankhamun. And the surprise. In the year 1323 BC. And the famous bust of Nefertiti. There is the new Berlin Museum in Germany. This statue is one of the most magnificent works in our ancient Egypt. Its designer is the sculptor Thutmose, and found the statue in his workshop. We know little about the origins of Queen Nefertiti, but there is some evidence indicating that she is from the country of Aton. Other theories have suggested that she was born in a foreign country, and maybe Syria. As for the date of her marriage to Amenhotep IV, who later changed his name to Akhenaten after converting to Aton worshippers, the sun god, is indefinite and inaccurate. But scholars believe that King Nefertiti was 15 years old when she married Akhenaten. Before assuming the throne. Royal blood purity. There are works of art that we see today. It depicts Queen Nefertiti and her husband, King Akhenaten, and their daughters as they are embodied in an unusually normal setting. This is what characterizes their era more than in previous times, and witness many of the scenes that embodied them together. Scientists interpreted that their closeness thus indicates the existence of a romantic closeness, a real relationship between the spouses, and there was a dynamic between them that did not exist at their ancestors are from the ancient pharaohs. Queen Nefertiti and Pharaoh Akhenaten played a very important role in the publication of Aton worshippers. All religious myths say that God is embodied in the sun. He was the most important and only deity worthy of worship at this time. From their point of view, here, Amenhotep IV changed his name to Akhenaten. There are some scientists who have guessed that the reason for her disappearance is due to the fact that she began to assume the role of a man. There are theories that indicate that she disappeared under the name of Pharaoh Akhenaten. One of the daughters of Queen Nefertiti died, and she can't come. Their grief was portrayed in some wall drawings. After her death, Nefertiti disappeared from the royal court. Her daughter, Mertamun, took her place. In her place, she was given the title of Great Royal Wife. Egyptologists were unable to locate the tomb of Nefertiti, and over the years of research, after the discovery of the tomb of Tutankhamun, and in 2015, Dr. Nicholas of the University of Arizona announced that the tomb of Queen Nefertiti may have been found, and she may have been secretly buried in the tomb of Tutankhamun, and that is not because the examinations prove that there is a secret entrance in the tomb of Tutankhamun, and that this door may lead to the entrance to the tomb of Queen Nefertiti. Scans have shown that there are remains of two places that were used as doors. Thus, Rivest assumed the existence of a secret passage leading to the tomb of Queen Nefertiti or other burial chambers. This is probably the reason why the tomb of Tutankhamun was smaller than the tombs of the princes of that era. Until today, the tomb of Queen Nefertiti has not been unveiled. The most famous and most beautiful of the Pharaoh's queens. It is the tomb that holds the answer to many questions.